from the betting capital of the world. Giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What's up, guys? My name is Effie, and these are my official bets for UFC San Antonio. Cory Sandhagen versus Chito Vera. Right away on the main event, guys, we have action. We have Cory Sandhagen at minus 160 for 1.75 units. Listen, I love Chito Vera. He's one of my favorite fighters on the entire UFC roster. He's friends with Action Bronson. I love him, and he's always posting Mac Miller songs, and I love him too. But man, I really do think that he's going to lose this fight. This fight comes down to three things, in my opinion: volume, movement, and height. And Sandhagen will have all three going in his favor in this fight. I think that Marlon Vera will be chasing going forward Cory all fight. I think that Cory Sandhagen will be moving laterally too much for Marlon Chito Vera here to land those big shots that he's been known to land, guys. Chito Vera, the way he fights is he obviously a slow starter, which is not a big deal because he comes on late. And now that he's getting 5-round fights, he's really there live to knock you out there during the end of the fight. Like, the way he fights, the longer it goes, people tend to not be able to avoid his power, man. That Rob fight is a huge example of someone just outlanding and outstriking Marlon Vera, and it not mattering, guys, because the bigger, stronger, significant strikes were coming from Chito Vera. This guy is getting struck. I think he got outstruck 3-1, close to 3-1, 2.5-1 in that fight. But the bigger knockdowns, the bigger fight-changing shots came from Chito Vera. Ram Fat is a huge volume guy, similar to Sandhagen. But Sandhagen is way taller and longer than anyone that Chito Vera has fought, other than Sean O'Malley, who he finished. Sean O'Malley is about as fragile as that piece of glass over there, and you can break him with anything. The guy's super thin and frail for the division. Cory Sandhagen has only been dropped one time in his UFC career, and that was by Peter Yan on a spinning back fist. He's pretty safe defensively, guys. I know, he lost to TJ Dillashaw, where TJ had, I think, one knee because he tore his ACL during the fight. Not a good look coming off of such a long layoff, but he's only losing to people like TJ Dillashaw, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan. I really do think that he's a higher level fighter than Chito Vera, and that's nothing against Chito Vera. I just think that he's kind of peaking and peaked already. I think that we've seen the best of him. I think that he does have the grappling advantage in this fight. Cory Sandhagen, obviously known to give up his back and get controlled from there. A really dangerous backpack position here from Chito Vera if it gets there, but I don't think it will. I think this goes the distance, and I think that Cory Sandhagen wins pretty easily, guys. I know there's a lot of love out there for Chito Vera this week, and how could there not be? This guy is super, super dangerous. The most finishes in the bantamweight history, and he just put his toe right in Dominic Cruz's mouth last fight. That was insane. But even that last fight, guys, I thought Dominic Cruz looked way better than I expected him to. And that just goes to show that Marlon is a slow starter, and he lets guys kind of get in their groove before he starts to counter and get going himself. I think it will be easy for him, though, to push Cory back. Cory is actually known to be okay working off his back foot. He's a super long guy, loves his teep kicks, loves to work at range and keep that outside distance. I think that he's just going to pick apart Marlon Vera for 5 rounds. I think he's going to point fight his way to a 5-round decision here. So give me Cory Sandhagen via decision. And if you were going to bet on Chito Vera, guys, I wouldn't mind a Chito Vera by decision prop. He's plus 600 to win via decision, and I think that's possible. I don't think that he's going to finish Sandhagen. Both guys are extremely durable. It's going to be an exciting main event. The bantamweight fights always deliver. It's my favorite division. Both guys in their primes on the cusp of a title shot, guys. Both guys really want this win, so they're going to be fighting for your money. I think that Cory Sandhagen is just a better overall fighter. Even with the grappling disadvantage to Chito, give me Cory Sandhagen for 1.75 units at minus 160. Which brings us to bet number 2, guys. Alex Perez versus Manel Kape. I'm going to go with Kape. Manel Kape. We have 1.75 units on Manel Kape, guys, at minus 175, 1.75 units to win one. And listen, I know he can get out-grappled and he's kind of low volume, but he's one of the more dynamic and more sophisticated strikers on the roster. I know that might be a stretch, but He showed up to the UFC, immediately loses his first 2 fights. He got tough, stiff competition right away, though. He's a risen champion over in Japan. This guy has a ton of pro experience overseas. And you could tell watching him fight, he's very cerebral, very methodical. He doesn't really just go out there and put volume on guys. He's very much so a fighter that waits and needs to download his reactions, his feints on you and see how you're reacting, because he's really precise. He wants to land that one shot, that one counter, that one pull shot, and put you out. He's very flashy in that sense, but at the same time, low volume. It's kind of strange. But he has finishing ability, guys. This guy's a killer. Manel Kape has that touch in his hands and really all of his body. He throws a lot of spinning stuff, loves his knees. Obviously, crushed who was Ode Osborne with that knee. Finished a guy that's super durable in Zagazumagulov recently. Very impressive for Manel Kape. I remember when he came and lost against Alexander Pantoja, the future champ Pantoja. He blamed it on the octagon being slippery and that he wasn't used to it. And yeah, he was slipping. If you watch that fight, he was kind of like slipping and sliding around like more often than you would expect. But I just thought that was a funny excuse. And then the next fight, he shows up, loses that fight too. And he had his feet taped for against Nicolau. Nicolau, very good underrated fighter though. And close decision, actually. You probably could have said you won that fight. But Alex Perez on the other side, guys, a very fadeable fighter. For one, he never makes weight. This guy is a fat weight bully. Well, I actually might even have action on this fight at all. This fight might get canceled by the time this happens. I will say it got moved to the co-main event, which is awesome because it's going to be an exciting flyweight fight. I know the over-under is at 2.5, favored to go over, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Kape finish Perez. I think that Perez clearly here has the grappling advantage. He can win minutes in the grappling exchanges and should be throwing more volume in the fight, but he's just not the striker that Kape is. We just saw him in his last fight have a very weird fight against Pantoja, so he got submitted in that fight. And they just like when they said you ready to fight, go. They both like just threw their game plan out the window and just try to get the 50K fight of the night bonus and just put all defensive, responsibilities out the window and just stood and rock'em sock'em roboted, swang and banged. Ended up getting caught and then submitted by Pantoja. Pantoja, like I said, future champion. Give me Manel Kape just because there's levels to this man, and I think that minus 175 is a good price for him. The more dynamic, dangerous striker who is lower volume and with a grappling disadvantage here. I think Perez is a fadeable fighter here. Give me Kape to win and to win easily. Our next bet is a 2-leg parlay with the first leg being Holm at minus 250. Yes, you heard that right, guys. We parlayed the 41-year-old Holm, and it's more of a fade on Yana Santos here. Yana Santos used to be Yana Kunitskaev. Then she married Thiago Santos and they had a kid. That's why she hasn't fought in a year and 7 months. But I'll be honest, guys, she didn't even look that good to begin with. I've never been impressed with her game, and the one area that she is good, I'll give her that, is in the clinch. And that's the problem here. She's going to be fighting Holm, who's also very good in the clinch. And man, I just think that Holm is better everywhere this fight will take place. And it comes down to, are you good at fighting or not? And I don't think that Yana Santos is good at fighting. I think that I'm actually surprised that she's not retired. I think that she's going to retire here soon with the loss. There's really nothing in her game that I think that she'll be better than Holm, other than being way, way younger. Holm's 41 years old. I get it. She's coming off losing to Ketlen Vieira, where you could argue she won that fight. And that's the thing about this fight. In her most recent fight, Ketlen Vieira, that fight took like 90% of the fight took place in the clinch along the cage in the warning track. If Yana Santos wants to get engaged in the clinch with Holm, I think that's okay because it's going to be boring. It's going to be a 15-minute decision, and Holm's going to win it at range. I don't think that she's going to be in danger at all from Santos, and I think that Holm's going to be able to wear on Santos here. I think that Holm wins a decision fairly easily here, guys. I understand there's a huge age gap in this fight, women's MMA. Man, the long layoff though, you just had a baby. No way. Give me Holm to win and come back. She just signed a new 6-fight contract with the UFC. So that tells me she's still here to fight and she's trying to make another run. She wouldn't sign that if she was just out here collecting checks. I'm pretty sure she's well off. And Yana Santos, on the other hand, I have no idea why she's still fighting. Give me Holm to win via decision. I believe that's only minus 110 right now, that prop. And we actually are parlaying her with Macy Barber at minus 275 to defeat Andrea KGB Lee in this fight. This comes down to Macy Barber and Lee going in opposite directions in their careers. She looked bad. Lee looked really, really bad against Viviana Araujo. And if Macy Barber could just get her grappling going in this fight, I think she should win a decision here fairly easily here. I will say, man, if you ever watch this show, I'm actually pretty harsh on Macy Barber. I hate her striking. This is going to be ugly to watch Macy go out there and try and strike with Lee. Lee 1000% is a better fighter on the feet, better kickboxer, better striker, better on defense, better managing range. Macy Barber, famously threw a head kick against Alexa Grasso from about 18 feet away. And ever since then, I just really don't like watching her fight, man. I mean, even before then, she throws. Well, first of all, they both yell when they punch. It's the most annoying thing to watch. But Macy her striking is really bad. It's getting better every fight, I will say that. But it's really bad, guys. And the one thing I will say is that the grappling disadvantage here for Lee is enough for me to bet on Barber and parlay Barber, because I think Barber is ascending. She's still super young. She's one of those fighters that's growing up in the UFC. She made her debut when she was 21 years old, I think. She's 24 now. She's probably been 20. She's 20 UFC experience. 9 fights already in the UFC. Yeah, man, I think she gets back on track, or I should say stay on track, and beats the 34-year-old Lee here. She's 34 years old, 24-year-old prospect in Barber. Give me Macy Barber to win via decision. And if I really want to get gremlin mode here, guys, I might parlay both those props. Holly Holm via decision and Macy Barber via decision. But if you really want to play it safe, I was talking to my homie Johnny Kape Picks, and he's kind of right. You could probably just play both those overs, the Holly Holm over and Macy Barber over. You'll probably get a little bit worse of a price. You probably have to pay, I think, 30 more cents on the line. But that's probably worth it. You want to sweat the decision here on 2 women's MMA fighters, but not me, man. You know my style. I am betting on women's MMA and parlaying them. So to recap, guys, really quickly, our bets, we have a 1.75 unit bet on Cory Sandhagen at -160. We have a 1.75 unit bet on Manel Kape at -175. And we have a 1.5 unit bet on a 2-leg parlay, Holly Holm and Macy Barber at -110. Only 3 bets for us, guys. Coming off a winning week, we finally ended our losing streak. Our bets went 4-1. We were 1 bet away from a sweep, but it happens. We did walk away with profit. And so, yeah, guys, we're going to get back on track, create a new winning streak really quickly. I'm going to give you guys my picks. It was a little bit different of a video this week, guys. I'll be honest, man. 8 straight weeks with UFC cards kind of took a toll on me, and I just finally got behind track and got behind schedule. There was the March Madness going on, World Baseball Classic going on. There's a ton of stuff, work. So I'm not going to make a huge breakdown on every single fight. I'm just going to really quickly pick who I win or who I think is going to win. And, yeah. Just so you guys can know my picks. If you have a question, just leave a comment. I'll give you a more in-depth breakdown there. I'll type it out and comment back. I got in the main event, we're going top down. We got Cory Sandhagen, Holly Holm, Nate Landwehr. Austin Legal cut weight like 2 weeks ago, so that's tough. But the price is way too steep on Nate. But give me Nate to win that fight. Macy Barber to win. Manel Kape to win. Chidi and Chikwani to knock out Duriev. That's a tough fight. That's going to be a banger because that's a striker versus grappler. If Duriev can get Chidi down, he should be able to ground and pound and finish him out. But if Chidi can survive that first round, even then he might fade. But I expect him to be able to light up Albert Duriev. Then we have Daniel Pineda versus Tucker Lutz. I'm going with Tucker Lutz. Steven Peterson versus Lucas Alexander. Give me Lucas Alexander. No. Give me Steven Peterson. They both aren't very good. Trevin Giles versus Preston Parsons. Give me Trevin Giles. CJ Vergara versus Daniel Da Silva. Give me CJ Vergara. Manuel Torres versus Trey Ogden. Give me Trey Ogden. And Vinicius Salvador versus Victor Altamirano. Give me Victor Altamirano. So thanks again, guys. Those are my official bets for UFC San Antonio. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Leave a like. Let me know what you think about my bets. Are you riding or are you tailing? Or fading, I should say. So yeah, man, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.